Thursday, 24 November 2022, Thanksgiving Day. Currently it is 17:52 hours. That is, of course, 5:52 p.m. in the evening for those of you in the civilian world. It is currently 71.8 degrees. Here on the northeastern coast of Florida, we had a high today of 83.3 and a low of 66.2. The barometer is currently 30.07 inches of mercury and rising. I hope everyone out there was able to stop at least for a short while and enjoy some time with family, friends, and loved ones. Enjoy a nice meal and put away all of the worries and angst of the outside world. There is some new information, however, coming out of Brazil that I think bears looking into, because in this article that I'm going to share a little bit later on, they find a solution to a problem that has been plaguing North American politics for a very long time. What is that problem? Well, many people have said, Florida Maquis, don't you know, it doesn't matter. Vote left, vote right. They're just going to tell you what you want to hear and then do what they want anyway after you elect them. There's no way to hold them accountable. And since we have this dual uniparty system, we're pretty much screwed. Well, they have a dual uniparty system down there as well, but they have found a way to hold those responsible accountable while not making the people of Brazil suffer. Stay tuned. You're going to want to hear this. Now, I would like to clarify some information real quick about the Patriot Nurse. All of the information that I have regarding her health, you can find openly over on her Patreon channel. I've, of course, shared links to mine for the last couple of years. She also has a Patreon channel, and I do believe, if I'm not mistaken, she has a $1 level. She's got multiple levels you can sign up at. But all of the information that I shared with you yesterday came from my having access to her Patreon channel. So I just wanted to answer some questions about that. Of course, 1 Thessalonians 5:16-18 tells us to rejoice, always pray without ceasing, give thanks in all circumstances, no matter what they are, for this is the will of God in Christ Jesus for you. Now, her words, not mine. She contracted COVID. She got over it mostly. She came back and made a video, tried to get back on her feet a little bit too soon. She pushed herself a little bit too hard, and now it's back with a vengeance. That's basically what's going on, and so she's going to have to kind of basically start all over again and get better. It's hit her pretty hard. I've not seen her. I've been watching her for years and years and years. I've never seen her go this long without content. So she has an amazingly tough schedule anyway with all of the traveling and all the other work that she does. I don't know how she's done it this long, to be truthful. So continue to keep her in your prayers. But this is a thumbnail, and once again, her words, not mine. Your body knows. And she admits that, even though she's a nurse, she's a human being, that she should have listened to her own body. And so that's what's going on with that. The prayers, of course, are always welcome and definitely needed, for sure. Now, funny story, I guess maybe not funny story, but ironic story. Way back in early 2020, I had shared some information about Alyssa Milano. I'm sure she's not a lot of your favorite person, but what she describes her encounter with COVID as being is very much like what Patriot Nurse is describing, some of the details. I don't want to share them here. If you would like to have access to that information, go spend the $1 or whatever you can over at the Patriot Nurse Patreon channel, and you can be read in on that as well. On top of that, Patriot Nurse, of course, here is on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and of course, Patreon. And I'm not sure if there are any other platforms that she's part of, but she has her own website as well. So information is not difficult to come by. You just got to know where to find it. So without any further delay, who remembers a long time ago, back when I had a little merch bar below the videos, these t-shirts, they were very popular. They were my own creation, the D-voted t-shirts to these election night returns, R 0%, D 0%. We the people do not consent. Your time has expired. Game over. These were incredibly popular. Now, the problem with this is that it applies at a national level, and since the issues of 2020, we can see that voting does matter at the state level and below. Having the people in place in Florida that we did made a huge difference. Voting made a huge difference. Having Governor DeSantis over like a Governor Whitmer or any of the other northern governors. So it's kind of a tough thing to say that it doesn't matter at the national level, but it does matter at the local level. Great story. What does this have to do with Brazil? Well, Brazil just had a very, very tight election, and the two candidates there mimic our two-party system, but in a very, very different way. For example, the guy that most people on the right in North America identify with is Jair Bolsonaro. He's pictured here on the left. The name of his party, though, is the Partido Liberal, which is the Liberal Party. Now, it's the old definition of what liberal used to mean. And, he was very Trump-like, very big business-oriented, but in their case, very, very globally oriented. Top-down control types. Over on the right, represented in red, the Partido Trabajadores, the Workers' Party, basically, would remind you of, in North America, the old Blue Dog Coalition Democrats from like the South and the Midwest and Appalachia. Yes, they are Democrats, and yes, they say they are left, but what left means down there is very different than what left means now in North America. So there are value systems that are skewed between what we believe and what they believe is a left and or a right-wing value. So here's basically the meat of what they did down there that I think is very, very interesting. Brazil's Bolsonaro fined for challenging election results. Now, they didn't fine him. Here's the key to this. They fined the party that he was representing, and that's the genius. A top judge said the president's quote-unquote bizarre election claims were based on a quote-unquote fraudulent narrative about faulty voting machines. Brazil's electoral court has rejected a request by President Jair Bolsonaro to overturn the result of October's presidential race, saying the outgoing leader has challenged the election in bad faith while slapping his Liberal Party coalition with a substantial fine. Now, basically what happened down there was a rehash of everything that happened here 2 years ago. So I'm not going to go into all of the details here, but the Judge de Moraes also ordered a suspension of all government funding to the liberal faction, meaning Bolsonaro's faction, Partido Liberal, until it pays a 23 million real, $4.3 million US dollar fine for its bad faith claims, and called for an investigation into Liberal Party leader Valdemar Costa. Okay, now here's the key to this. We know in North America, our biggest enemy is the corporate media. ABC, NBC, Fox, I don't care who it is. They all lie. They all have a money interest in keeping you tuned in to sell the maximum amount of advertisements and charge the advertisers as much as they can. There has never been a time where the faith of the people in what's being spoken in the media, never been a time when it's lower. Now, what if we could hold the parties responsible? Not the people, the parties. The Democrat Party, the DNC, the RNC. If they put up a candidate that told bald-faced lies and used, like, for example, on the left wing, if it was we'll just say a Barack Obama, and he was on CNN and he was blah, 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 lie about what's happening on the right, a judge could fine them millions and millions of dollars. and withhold funding and keep that funding back at the state level and say, hey, we're not going to, a state could actually do this. We could sue them and say, hey, this is a confirmable lie. You use this lie to advance your position, which is damaging to the people, which is what the Brazilian judge ruled, that it was damaging to their process, damaging to their republic. So that's why he leveled the fine against Bolsonaro's party. But the idea, the specifics of that away, think of the idea in general of suing and getting fines levied against Fox, against CNN, against MSNBC, against the DNC, the RNC, and make them have to pay for it. And maybe get together our own coalitions. You see, this is, I guess, the genius that is overlooked of the Founding Fathers. You see, America hasn't failed. There's this idea that if America can't succeed being run from Washington, D.C., then we need to give up hope. Let me say that again. There is this faulty, flawed idea out there that if America can't succeed being run as just one giant monolithic country from Washington, D.C., then it's a complete and total failure. Throw in the towel, burn it to the ground. That's not what our Founding Fathers had in mind. If we balkanized into 10 or 11 different groups and then governed ourselves according to the values that we hold, and then made it financially inconvenient, really inconvenient, for big multinational globalist news agencies to spew lies and then be able to, under force of law, seize bank accounts? Oh, absolutely. If this would be a wild success. Florida could be its own thing. Dixie could be another thing. Mid-America, the Dakotas. I mean, where is it written that we all have to be all this one thing all the time? It isn't. We're a republic, not a democracy. This would truly be restoring the republic, in my mind. Even if Texas was its own thing, Florida was its own thing, Utah with the Mormons, let them do their own thing. If they want to have polygamy, let them. God bless them. Let them do it. If the Dominion of the Atlantic wants to ally with China, or California wants to do its own thing, I don't know that you would see Idaho allying with Oregon and Washington. I think that might be a stretch. That might be the one place on the map where I think this might be wrong. You'd probably see the Idaho ally more with the Dakotas, but otherwise, I think whoever made this map, and I just found it online, got really, really, really close. You might see West Virginia go along a little bit more with in Ohio. I think places like Michigan and Minnesota and Wisconsin, Illinois would have very, very different values than, say, Missouri. You may have to completely redo these lines. You may have to, include maybe parts of southern Illinois, southern Indiana, southern Ohio, West Virginia, in kind of either with Mid-America. I don't know about Dixie, because it would be hard to say that the people of southern Alabama and the people of central Illinois have the same values. They just don't. But it doesn't make one necessarily wrong or right. But anyway, this is kind of what was done here. Somebody turned the financial screws on those responsible for causing angst and upheaval and lies, basically. And look, it doesn't really matter who you agree with or who you don't. I could show you things about both of these characters that conservatives would not like, and things about both of them that they would love. To say that the election of De Silva is a huge affront to conservatism is just not true. It's just not true. He's part of the Workers' Party. He's got a lot more in common, like I said, with the old Southern Democrats. that used to rule in this country. And there's a lot of things that have been said about him that are only partially true. And this is kind of what the court got into down there. They're saying basically enough's enough with the lies. You know, if you want to tell the truth about somebody and then say why you believe that truth is a bad thing, okay, that's fine. But just to make things up and say, well, because it didn't go my way, you know, we need to throw it all out. That's not the way to go. So, well done, Brazil. I'll leave it there, but if anybody out there is not feeling well or having things go on health-wise that they can't necessarily put their finger on, better safe than sorry. Better safe than sorry. I'll leave it there. God bless. Like, share, subscribe. We'll see you guys next time.